Hi, Crystal. Welcome to the studio. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's a wonderful Monday. How are you?
I am good. I know it does feel like a good Monday. Okay, so we're here. We're in the Healthcare Rule Breakers podcast studio, and we're going to be talking about our new podcast that's starting.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so first things first, I'm sure our listeners are going to want to know what are we going to be talking about? Who are we? And where's this journey going to take them? So, you want to start?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm Crystal Lawson, and I am a leadership development. Um, I struggle to use the word expert, but I love investing in leaders. So, a little bit about who I am, just the concise version. I am a nurse by background who wanted to be a CNO, or so I thought. Got involved in progressing up that ladder and said, you know what? Um, the long debated, everybody knows it's a problem. We hand the expert clinician the keys to the office, and then we just expect them to be able to do this work. And so, along my journey, I became a manager, a director, started a residency program for new grads, which I loved. And I thought, we need to do this for all leaders, not just the new nurses coming in. And so that journey led me to AONL, which is where our paths cross. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And doing leadership development for aspiring to seasoned executives. And really, my passion just came out in caring for those that care for the nurses that care for the patients. And so I eat, sleep, breathe leadership development. And now I have the pleasure of just traveling the country and doing keynotes and doing leadership development workshops. And so I hear and see all of these incredible people across the country. And you are one of those that I met along the AONL journey. And so we've connected. You are brave enough, which is why I love having you in my circle, to say, let's try this. So that's my short version. How about you? Tell the listeners who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Alyssa Adams, and my background is started off very traditional. So I was a bedside nurse. I went to nurse practitioner school. I was a clinical nurse practitioner, and then I became a leader by chance, honestly. There was another leader who saw some leadership skills in me and offered me an opportunity, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, am I looking? I don't know, but I'll give it a try. And then from that, I got to be part of the AONL fellowship, and honestly, that was a huge pivoting point in my career and my trajectory. That just really led me on an alternative path. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't even know that some of the roles that we talked about and some of the people that came to talk to us during the fellowship, I was like, oh, they're nurses. Like, how did they get into this? How did they get into that? How did you get that knowledge? And so it really opened up my mind, and it really allowed me to spread my wings. And so that led me down like a nurse entrepreneur path, which is where I'm at right now, owning and operating a staffing agency, which as a clinician is a totally different perspective and viewpoint, and thankful for all of my leadership experiences because it really does help bring everything full circle. And so thankful that our paths crossed, because that I have a person to lean on when I want to do something crazy, like, oh, let's start a podcast and see where it goes.
Yes.
Which actually brings us to talking about the podcast that we are launching, which is Healthcare Rule Breakers. So, Crystal, do you want to share from your perspective what Healthcare Rule Breakers means to you? And then I can tag on.
Absolutely. So I have to just go back to what you said, though, about just shout out to AONL Fellowship for opening our eyes to what is possible.
I mean, to the beyond.
My gosh. And so what I love to do in my work is watch leaders as they progress. And like you said, it's amazing to see where it takes everyone.
Yeah.
And I've just loved watching your journey. So I have to say that. So you reached out to me and said, hey, would you consider doing this? And I'm thinking, do I have time to do one more thing? And I'm sure most leaders feel that way. And you shared with me some of the work that the IHI did around breaking the rules for better care that really kind of inspired this. And
Yep.
so for me, one of the things that drove me to start We Rise Up, I love watching elevating each other, developing ourselves, but then collectively how we raise each other up. And so I saw the same names and faces that are being highlighted everywhere. But I'm meeting these amazing people that are doing work all across the country. And I'm like, they are breaking the rules for better care. And so when you said this, I thought, I have to make time to do this because we're going to meet some incredible people. Who knows what we're going to learn across the way. And we're just the kind of people that are willing to put ourselves out there and say, let's try it. It may or may not work. So, what prompted you? Because you prompted me, you were my inspiration.
Yeah, so honestly, it's just that. Like I had the opportunity to participate in the Breaking the Rules campaign and really learn from leaders all across the country who were doing things that I was like, "Oh my god, yeah. Why are we continuing to do things the same old way? Like why do we say, well, this is just how we've done it and continue to just walk that path without questioning it or without looking for better and striving for better options, more, just anything? Why do we just let that be our complacent place? So when I thought about that, I was like, I would love to hear from and talk to people who have found a rule or found a situation, found something that they felt like, oh, it doesn't have to be this way. We can make a change. And, even if you've had like a failure along the way, I always have that philosophy that failure is fun. And, some people are scared of failure, right? But I hope that from this podcast, we'll bring people along that journey and help them realize that change is hard. Change is necessary, and failing while you're doing it can be fun because you learn so many new things and you finally eventually figure out the right way to do them or what works for you and your organization, whatever the case may be. So I'm just hopeful that we'll talk to people who can help us understand how they got on that journey and help other people and really empower people to just be okay breaking the rules, doing things differently, not following the same grain, and just think outside the box and really want to elevate themselves, leaders, the care environment, nurses, other clinicians, and just really strengthen what we have to offer as far as from healthcare standpoint. So that's really where I went with it. And when I knew when I was talking about breaking the rules and doing something different, that you were the person that needed to co-host with me. So, so I was so thankful that you said yes.
Well, I'm so glad you brought me along on this journey. And I can't wait to see the people that we meet. And hopefully, we inspire an audience of listeners from real stories of I hope we hear a lot of failure because those are my best lessons, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm so glad you reached out.
Okay, so with that, let's talk about the purpose of the podcast. So I'd really like to share kind of what we carved out as our Breaking the Rules healthcare podcast purpose. So we're really going to be looking at highlighting bold leaders. We're going to be looking at highlighting bold people. So some people I feel like don't think of themselves as a leader, but really they are. You're leading something, you're part of a change, you're part of a care environment. So we just want to talk to you, talk to people who are defying conventional norms, pushing boundaries, transforming healthcare. And I mean, it can be from all facets. It doesn't have to be specifically from a hospital. It doesn't have to be specifically from a particular industry. And we're really going to be looking at inspiring and showcasing innovators who are redefining leadership, patient care, and the industry's future. So I hope that will resonate with someone, and we'd love to be able to be part of your listening, podcast streaming.
I could not agree more. It's amazing what the network will do. And I really also hope that we highlight the professionalism of nursing. I've been on this kick lately about the image that we're projecting out into the world. So I'm hoping we project some of the image of the wonderful things that's happening in our profession as well. So can't wait to see what we find out.
I completely agree.
So you asked me, we talked about what is the question that we want to ask everybody. And it was, if you could break any rule in healthcare, what would it be? So I'm curious for your answer, and then I'll share mine with you guys.
Okay. So when we were deciding like what was going to be our podcast question, I was like, well, we're the healthcare rule breakers, so we really want to know, like, do you have a rule that you've either already broken, or is there one that you want to break? One of the rules that I want to break is how we all, from a leader perspective, we all feel like our time is their time, and that there is an opportunity to kind of put a little pin in that, and restructure what does time look like, and what does our commitment look like to ourselves, to our organizations, and redefine the conversation of what is work-life balance. And I know that you've preached this many times, many of your keynotes, and it always resonates with me because I hear people say, oh, do you have work-life balance? And I'm like, what does that even mean? I'm like, what does it even mean? And I think we really have to redefine that. Like, what is that conversation? Why are we talking? What should we be talking about? And really, how can we break the rule of like, oh, we have to commit to this 8 to 5 or 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday workflow? And so I'm really interested, and I've been watching like some other countries that are introducing alternative work weeks and various different things, and I'm even watching it happen some in the U.S. So that's the rule that I want to break. Like, what does time look like, and how are we able to really change that narrative?
That's a great one. It's something I'm super passionate about too. So,
okay. So what about you?
I thought about this, and the funny thing is, what I've been told repeatedly by someone very near and dear to me is, Crystal, you like to fall down and hit every branch on your way. And I'm like, that is how I learn. That is the best way to learn. But the good news is I don't hit the same branch again. So that's the important thing. So when I thought about it, all I could come up with is all of them. I want to break all of them. We have normalized so many things that make no sense. And so my love and passion is to meet all these amazing people. And we have this incredible opportunity to highlight their work. So for me, I'm an incredibly curious person, and I just want to break the rules of saying, here are things that go out there. There's always been these rules in place about what we can and cannot talk about, or what we can and cannot do. So let's talk to the people out there that are saying, you know what, this rule doesn't make any sense, or we need to just blow this one up completely. And so for me, I want to break the rule of talking about it, talking about the things that maybe historically we've been saying, oh, you can't really post that, or you can't really talk about that.
Right.
Let's change the game.
I love it. Yes. I hope we'll talk to so many rule breakers. Ooh, I'm so excited. I love talking to rule breakers.
Me too.
Okay. All right. With that said, I think that wraps us up for today. I think we've shared everything that we wanted to share with our future and potential audience. So we hope that you all will reach out, give us some ideas, share your network with us, and we would love to be able to connect and really share these stories and highlight all of these amazing rule breakers.
I cannot wait. So we'll include the information about how to get in touch with us. But if you're a rule breaker or you know one, we want to talk to you and share it with the masses. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this journey. I can't wait to see where it takes us.
Me either.